Hi, and thanks for joining me today. Today is going to be a little different. Do you need a new sheet of paper? Yeah. Okay, well then give me that one. Don't just put it on the floor. Be right back. We'll try this again. That's just an excellent example of what I'm showing you today, which is that it is not always perfect getting into the studio and lining everything up. It's really nice when those sessions happen, and that's when I do some of the more finicky stuff with my paintings that I really have to focus on. But more and more, as my daughter gets older, I'm trying to figure out things that I can do in the studio when she's joining me in the studio. Often my partner takes her and I have an extra set of hands to help wrangle her. He is away right now at an event selling his wares, being awesome and amazing. So all the best luck to him doing that. You've got this. And yeah, okay, I'm just gonna be awkward and finish this because it's the third time trying to start this video, and the whole point was just to show you how this goes. And it's not always perfect, and I don't care what any artist out there does, it's not gonna be perfect. If you want to just get into the studio, if you're like, I keep thinking I have to do all of this stuff, and just number one tip, try to pick a space. Pick a space for your art. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It can be the kitchen table if you keep your kitchen table clean, but ideally you'll pick a space that is easy for you to get your stuff in and out of. I'm really lucky. I do have a dedicated space. This is my studio per se, but really all it is curtained off section of the living room that is also gated off so my daughter cannot get there when she's not being supervised. Let me show you a little bit what we got going on in the studio, and then I will actually show you something that I do want to paint. So that we can have a little painting in the video too. Okay, let's see. All right, little tour. This is what we are going to be painting on today and what I will show you in just a little bit. There's the aforementioned curtains. There's my plant that I just watered, so he looks a little sad. He's getting better. There is what baby girl is painting and working on. If we scan over this way, here is another painting that I am working on, keeping out of her reach because it's at a stage where I don't want her to touch it. It's at a stage where I need to finish the underpainting, but I think I'm going to do it with oil, as you can see where she did get into that. And oh yeah, here's my lovely hands all painted up because she decided we were finger painting, which is completely fine. There is her easel. Total hot mess, just like her mom's easel, so completely fine. Also, there's her chair and her finger painting on my cabinet that holds all my stuff. Oh, also, point of view, there is a label that I stuck on there because that was canvas that I just purchased and need to use. Oh, and here is a little, that's what she's working on. That's her palette, well, that's my palette that she stole, and there's her liquid paint. This is what I like to give her, is in these condiment jars, because liquid paint, one, makes the paint go further, two, is easier for her to squeeze out on her own, and the caps all go in a jar and I hold on to the caps. And I'm not gonna pan over, but she's 1000% just painting herself. So I try to just take it easy and not stress over anything when I have an extra hand in the studio. That is ultimately my goal, is to not stress and to let things go. So this is a time when I invite her into the studio. And do I have enough brushes? No, probably not. I need more. I try to just remember that two things. One, don't have anything out that if she gets paint on, it's going to make me mad. So I make sure that all, especially any commissions, are out of her reach, because everything else, I'll paint it and shift it and we'll pivot, but I gotta protect any commissions from little hands. And also, it's fun for her, and as a parent of a toddler, all I can say is sometimes you gotta let them get away with stuff. It's important to keep them safe, obviously, but also, I was a kid, I got away with stuff. My mom couldn't watch me 24/7. No parents watching their kids 24/7 all the time. It's like they say in Finding Nemo, which I've watched on repeat lately. Can't never let anything happen to him. Not much fun for little Harpo. So she likes it because I open up the baby gate and she gets to come in and out of the studio whilst I'm painting, while she gets to paint. I do try really hard to keep an eye on her hands to make sure we don't get paint all over the rest of the house. To be fair, I've been guilty of that, so I can't be that mad at her for that. But she likes it because she also feels like half the time she's getting away with something, even though I still have an eye on her. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You can get away with that for right now. Okay. Well, she's starting, so I'm going to switch the camera around, get you at a better angle, and we'll see if we can get just one of these trees blocked in for the underpainting, so you get some painting in this video too. Okay, one sec. Okay, we are going to play the game called Little Girl is Asleep, and how much of this tree can I get done? So when she wakes up, I'm just going to call this video good, is how I think I'm going to play it. And I'm just going to gain my bearings on my palette. So as you can see, I've got the tree, I've got a reference photo. I'm mostly following this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does give me a really great idea of where my darks and my lights are. So it gives me a range of values and a reference. If you haven't painted a lot of trees, references are good. If you haven't painted a lot of any subject, references are your friend, because people that paint just from their head, it's because they've painted that same subject. It is because they have stared at that subject. It's because they have broken it down that they now have a reference point for doing that. So don't ever beat yourself up over it. So I did actually already have this sketched in. I wondered if I had found the same picture, and I think I did. This looks fairly similar to that. And yeah, let's start. So again, I'm just doing an underpainting, essentially what I'm doing here. So I just want to get my values. I'm going to very roughly block them in to start with. This is a good mid-tone. And then I'll go in with oils. The reason I like to block in the beginning parts of my underpainting in acrylic, that's what this is, what I'm working with right now. And the reason I do that is because oils are, one, more expensive, they stay wet for longer, and they smell. Even if you use oils without anything at all, which is what I've primarily been doing, even if you don't thin them out at all, I just feel like there's still a smell to oils that sometimes kind of gives me, not always like a headache, but I'm kind of sensitive to smells over time. So anyway, point being, that's why I do this in acrylic first. I also feel better when my little girl's in the studio of using acrylics instead of oils, and I don't have to worry about her getting into it, and it doesn't bug me, and I'm not like, oh, hey, stop messing with that, because she doesn't have to with her acrylics. I mean, there's some things she has to stop messing with because I'm not allowed to touch them, not that she really listens. So what I'm going to do is just really super quickly and roughly block this in, because I am going to go back in with the oils, because I like acrylics, I like oils. I think oils do have a little extra something to them that acrylics just don't have. And I think some people will probably argue that with me. Shanae from, even a year ago, 2 years ago for sure, would probably argue that point with me. She really likes acrylics, and that's fair. Acrylics are good. They really do have their place. I do paintings out of just acrylics, and I like my acrylic paintings. And at the same time, I don't know, as I've been getting more and more into oils, there's something about them. Sorry to say. It's not sorry to say, like, it's good. Just always like things that feel more accessible, and I think that is probably one of the best arguments against oils usually, is they're not very accessible. Depending on cost, depending on understanding, they're more finicky. There are more rules with oils. You do have to sit down and actually ask yourself with acrylic. Like, acrylic kind of paints on anything. It paints through anything. There's not a lot you can't do with acrylic. It's really hard to mess up acrylic, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to be like, oh, you can't really come back from that with oils. There's a couple more rules that come with it just because of dry time, and if you're thinking about longevity of your paintings, cracking, all that, there's extra factors you kind of have to consider. Now you'll see how quick I'm doing this. It's so quick, which lends itself to the fact that I'm trying to accomplish this during a nap. I would very much like to get it done, so I got the shape of that, and that's mostly what I'm looking for in the reference, but I feel like I'm kind of looking at values right now. I'm also just kind of trying to be happy with the shape of my tree. oils, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to shape it all out, and maybe I'll try to video that one, I think. Keep going back and forth with what I'm going to video, what I'm not going to video. If you ever wonder, like, what all does an artist have to do? Well, that's the thing. You have to get set up your area. If you don't have a studio, if you have a studio, luckily it's already set up. But even if you have a studio, like, you have to gather your supplies, you have to gather what you're doing for the painting. There's a lot of prep that can actually go into doing art, especially kind of the higher up levels you get into that. There is actually kind of more and more prep that comes along with it. You know what? That's pretty well. I'm actually really happy with that. That's pretty well blocked in. Even with the lights being up here. One sec. To pause my air filter, it was ramping up. That's something I have in my studio, by the way. If you're wondering what all the things that an artist could have in their studio, I've got a filter. Okay, background-wise, this is actually supposed to be dark because that's good context. So that's what's going on in the rest of this painting that I have taped off. I just wanted to get these trees correct. It's really what I wanted. So, yeah, this is... I really wish I could remember what I said before I had to go turn off the filter. Because it was getting loud. I was just talking about setup that you have to do. Yeah, so it's all of this, and then you got to figure out angles, lighting. Sometimes you look at the video and you're like, I need more lighting. So again, this is not kind of just very casual video today. I don't know, I'm still figuring out. If you're here, I appreciate you. I really do. I'm just an artist who's just trying to figure out where I fit in, where I go. And the fact that I want to create art, that's what I know. Can't stop. It's definitely a passion. I always create art as a hobby. You don't have to create art for literally any reason other than you like art. Unless, of course, it's literally the only thing in the world you want to do. Then you might be in my shoes, trying to figure out how to do the art that you want to do, how to put it out there, how to find your audience, how to find your collectors. Especially because now it's really expected from a lot of people. It's really part of the current model to have to be your own marketer and branding and all this thing, and it just all ends up being, what do you want out of it? What do you want to do with it? I don't know if any of those are helpful thoughts. They're just ramblings of a mom who convinced her toddler to take a nap and is now trying to make the most of that. If you're ever wondering, like, how do you manage that? How do you manage the kid and making art? Well, something's got to give, and let me tell you what. My friends definitely wish they heard from me a lot more often. My average response time is not great. Luckily, I think I mostly am left with friends that understand that. I'm one of those, like, we may not talk for weeks, for months. But if you hit me back up or I hit you back up, I'm just going to pick up where we left off. Because time is nothing but a concept. So yes, my friends definitely wish they heard from me more often, I am sure. And I've got a pile of dishes in the sink that need to be washed. And I have a pile of clean clothes that should probably be folded and put away. But with those, I'm mostly resting my laurels on the fact that they're clean, that I did get them into the dryer and washer. and that they are clean and available and ready for wear. But yeah, that pile, I'm not stressing over that. I personally will take clothes out of a pile all day long. I'll just keep searching for them. Maybe I should just have baskets. Maybe that's the solution in my life. Maybe I should just actually have baskets. Screw trying to hang everything up, fold it, put it in a drawer. I would. I think I would be really happy. It'd be so hard to find everything if I just had baskets, though. And I was like, that's where the shirts go. That's where the pants go. You'd really only have to hang up. Guys, I might be onto something. You really only have to hang up like the fancier stuff. And to be fair, especially as a painter, I don't wear a lot of fancy stuff. Primarily wear clothes that are paint clothes. You know, most everything is, you know, painting clothes. Because everything doesn't have paint on it till it does. Because I tell myself, just this one time, I'm just gonna go do one thing and it'll be fine and I won't get paint on that. Oh, Shanae, you're a liar. And I pride myself in not being a liar, but in that regard, I definitely convince myself all the time to try things that I probably shouldn't try. You know what? This is as good as honestly as that needs to get. Ooh, for this level of underpainting, except I just stuck my paintbrush in a whole amount of paint, so I am gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna do that down there, because this is a reflection type painting. I'll explain more in a future video. Maybe we'll do the oils on it. So I hope that you had a fantastic day. Here, one second, I'll let you see my face. There we go. Always nice when, you know, eye to eye sort of thing. I mean, I can't see you, but I'm pretending that you're there and that this is not a video to no one, which, you know, they always can be. You never know. Work with what you got. Do what you can with what you got. And if you want to create something, then create it. You just got to find a way to work with your lifestyle and your resources. And sometimes that just takes finding the space to have just a quiet thinking moment of how do all these puzzle pieces go together. But at the end of the day, nothing happens unless you just go for it. You just have to go for it at some point, even if it's uncomfortable. And change is uncomfortable. Sometimes the way that we go about a situation, like everything that I've got going on here, is sometimes uncomfortable. Not my favorite way to do all of it, but it works. And it means I still get stuff done. And I really appreciate when I get to do things actually within the context of how I would like to go about them. You're awesome. You're amazing. And you can do all the things if you just go for it. I believe in you. Go forth. Be creative. I'll see you next time. Bye.